listeners, to another episode of the Mommin Around podcast. I'm Liz Mercedes, and today we have Maeve's mom, the fabulous Julie, with us, the creator of a spicy romance coloring book, a lover of all spicy things, and a mom with an incredible journey to share. Get ready for the roller coaster of emotions, laughter, and some spicy mom hacks. Oh, spicy mom hacks. That doesn't sound right. Well,
it could.
It was late,
though.
okay, when I was writing that.
You did good.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Tired. We both have our coffees.
Yes.
I think the sleep regression has begun over here. I think.
What? You're almost 4 months.
I'm like 3 and change, so it could be early.
Was she later too?
No, they took her at 39 weeks because of IVF.
Okay.
Did they take Maeve at 39 weeks?
No, we went at 40. We went at 42.
Wow.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't let me go any further past 42, which by that point I was ready anyway. So I was like, okay, let's talk induction. So no, we went at 42 weeks.
Yeah, we were induced too. But they said that after 40 weeks is more of a high chance of stillbirth with IVF, and that's why they took her 39 weeks.
Oh. Okay. No. I just was like, listen, I want to try to do this as natural. Like, I just want one thing in this pregnancy to feel normal, and that is like regular labor. And it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. I went in for, I think 3 NSTs, and through all 3 of them.
What's an NST?
A non-stress test. Okay. So I would go in, and they started doing them after my due date. So I would go in for I'd go in, and they'd strap like belts to your belly, and they'd watch to see if there was like any contractions or any movement. And I had none. I had no contractions. I never had a Braxton Hicks. I had no idea what a contraction felt like until I was induced. So she really was not trying to come out by herself.
She was like, I'm cozy in here.
Yeah, she probably would like climb back up if she could. So.
Is she still like a really clingy kid?
Yes. Yes, to me. But I mean, I don't like say no. So like she still like I am the only one who can put her to bed. Mm-hmm. Not the only one, but you know, she prefers me. So like I put her to bed, she falls asleep. She holds my face when she falls asleep. She comes, and so she'll be 6 in March, and she still is not like fully sleeping by herself, and that's okay.
I think that's okay too.
She'll wake up in the middle of the night and still come to bed with us because she wants to snuggle. So I mean, you can't argue with that. So we are very close, and we are very similar. So
I love that.
That is fun.
I love that. And I just feel like, I mean, she'll get to a point where she doesn't want to snuggle, and you're going to want to snuggle again anyway. So just enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's our only one. So I'm like, why am I rushing through all of this stuff? Why would I ever want to rush through this? Yeah. So we're just floating along.
I love that. And do you think that knowing that she's your only one like affects how you mom?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just, you know, so we're talking about like sports for this winter. So we live in Pennsylvania, and it's snowy. She's skiing. And I'm like, you know what? She's our only one. So let's put her in skiing. And if she wants to snowboard, we're going to snowboard. And I'm like, so like when it comes to that stuff, I'm always just like, well, she's our only one. So we're going to give her everything we can because again, she's our only one. Yeah. And I mean, I guess maybe I am like am I overcompensating? Sometimes I question, but no, she's our only one. So like I give my job right now is to her. So I just am trying to do all that I can for her to enrich her life and let her know how special she is.
Yeah, definitely.
But also keeping her humble.
Yeah. I'm sure she keeps you humble too.
Every day, baby, every day. She told me last night. I was carrying her into Hobby Lobby last night. She's going to be 6. She's tall. She's sturdy. And I was like, yes, I will always carry you. And then as I'm carrying her, she's like, your breath smells funky. I was like, goodbye. Walk. You can walk.
And no longer carrying you.
I know, but yes, I will.
Yeah, totally. I get that. Yeah, we don't know if Cala is our one and only, but I'm not doing IVF again. So if that's the route we have to go, then I'm done. We may, I think I've talked about this before, but we may adopt at some point. But for
Mm-hmm.
now, we're just kind of enjoying her. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But do you want to talk about your fertility journey a little bit?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about it. Sometimes,
Yeah.
and I don't know, there are days when I don't want to say like don't think about it or forget about it, but there are days that I'm just like, oh yeah, that's right. We went through all of this.
Yeah, I feel
So
like I even blocked it out a little bit. Like,
yeah.
I had a call with my therapist yesterday, and I was like, I think I want to like delve into it and how it's like affecting, because I think I have like pretty bad PPA, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's kind of like making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And as we started going into it, and I started talking about like our egg retrievals and stuff, I was like, oh my God, I forgot all of this happened. Like, I totally forgot. Like, I
Yeah.
think I blocked it out.
Like that's a trauma response. We're like, oh wow, this
Yes.
is a lot. And so we don't want to deal with it. And then,
Mhm.
but now we're like circling back around almost 6 years. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, wow. I can't believe we did that. And I just
I
like
know.
walked into it so naively and was just like, this is gonna work, guys.
Yes.
And then like
Agreed.
then it didn't the
Hmm.
first two times. And I'm like, oh
Hmm.
no, this isn't working. I thought it was supposed to.
Hmm.
Like this was supposed to be guaranteed. I mean, they
Yep.
never said that, but like in mentally, I'm
My
like, this is
doctor
gonna
said it to us. My doctor
oh
was like, you have to do IUI because of insurance, but IVF is guaranteed. Like, you're gonna get pregnant right away, no big
yeah.
deal. And it was a big deal.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. It did
Yeah.
not work like that.
Yeah.
Um, so we had been trying for at that point when by the time we went in for egg retrieval, it was almost 3 years that we had been trying. I had been brushed off by two previous OBs. I finally found one, and by the time I found him, we were like 2 years into it.
Hmm.
He put me on a few rounds of Clomid, and nothing happened. So then he referred us to our reproductive endocrinologist, and he's
Hmm.
a 2 hour drive away. So
Oh
nobody
gosh.
locally does that. So it
Okay.
was a 2 hour jaunt. So we met with him, and this was the end of September, and we were great candidates for it. We had the insurance coverage because our parent company is based out in New Jersey, and so they require fertility coverage. So we were
Oh,
like,
that's a
oh,
New
wow,
Jersey thing.
it's a New Jersey thing, but like our
Okay.
parent company is in New Jersey, so we had in New Jersey and based insurance, so it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Like
that's awesome.
that was huge. So then we waited. We waited a couple months. I ended up getting laid off from my job, which was a blessing in disguise. And
Mhm.
then February rolls around and still like nothing is happening. So we called him back, and I made my appointment in my cycle. I'm like, okay, so if we're pregnant, then I can just cancel this because we'll know right before.
Mhm.
But then, that didn't happen. I was still like being Delulu and be like, no, this is going to happen.
Of course,
Um,
it never ends.
it really doesn't. So by the time I went to the appointment, it was, I had started my cycle. And so, but we were at a great time in my cycle to like take all of our baselines. So we left in February with all of our baselines, all of everything that they needed. And then we were ready for a March retrieval. So we started all of our meds, and I had a pretty like easy med cycle. I responded to the meds really easily. I did
Mhm.
not have any crazy side effects. And we went in for retrieval. We had retrieved 20 eggs.
Wow,
Um,
nice.
14 of them we ended up keeping for fertilize. They fertilized. And then by the end of everything, we had 9. And
Like genetic
then
testing and everything.
we did not do genetic testing
Okay.
because you know, on paper, I had nothing wrong with me. And on paper, my husband had nothing wrong with him.
So
Like,
you're both
all,
tested and they didn't find anything.
no.
Okay.
So they're like, you can, but we're like, well, that's just like, that's also extra. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so we, March comes around. I had a textbook retrieval. It was so nice, so easy. I did not have any side effects. I did not feel
That's
any
awesome.
pain. Like I was not sore afterwards. I had OHSS. I did not even like truly feel that. Like it
How did
didn't
you know
really.
you had it?
They told me I had to go get these meds. They're like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, but it doesn't feel like it. I feel fine. So we did that. Textbook retrieval. Everything was fertilized. They were calling me and updating me every day on like the status of my embryos. And I had no idea what any of that meant. I was just like, oh wow, that's cool. I have 9. Or I started with 14. I was like, that's cool. And we ended up keeping 9. I was so just like naive about our whole cycle. And I think if we were to ever do, we're not, because that's not on the table anymore. But if we were to ever do IVF again, I know too much that I don't think I would have as a successful or positive experience with it as I did the first
went in
time.
not knowing anything at all and thinking like, oh, like my husband's the problem, so it'll be easy. Like IVF, like it's, you know, if I have eggs, that's all you really need, you know? And I was shocked. Our first egg retrieval, we only got 1 normal embryo. And then our second egg retrieval, we got none, not 1. And
Oh my
I feel
goodness.
by the second one, I had more information. So I guess like I kind of knew. But my first one, like I was just like shocked. Like I did not know that that was an option. And I was like,
yeah. Because they hype you up on all the on Follistim or what was the other one? Gonal F.
I took Follistim.
Okay, yeah, I did Follistim too. And but I mean, they just make it seem like you're going to get all these eggs. And like, yes, I did have 20. But again, naive, if I knew what I knew now, I would be stressing over it because I'm like, am I going to have enough? Is this going to work? So yeah, anyway, so like she was updating me and I was like, okay, cool. We went in for our fresh transfer at April. And at this time I had a friend who had went through IVF a couple years before, and she was very like meticulous and very like sciencey. Like she ended up like leaving her job to go be a nurse, which makes sense because that's just how she is. And like I would always like talk to her about it, and she's like, why didn't you ask, or what did they say your numbers were? And I was like, I don't know. Like she called me, everything sounds good. So we went in for our first transfer, everything went fine. I responded to all the meds well. And so they make you do the 2-week wait, and I wasn't going to test because I'm like, oh, I just want to wait. I'm going to be like surprised. Well, then like my friend's like, no, you should test today. And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, do it. And I said, and I thought about it and I'm like, all right, well, I am kind of impatient. So I tested and it was negative. And I was like, okay, like there could always have been a chance, you know, when I go to get my blood work that day, but it ended up being negative. And so that time I was like, all right, well, I'm done testing ahead of time. I'm not testing at all. I don't even care like how positive it is. Like, I don't care what my numbers are. I'm not testing again. So that was like an unsuccessful trial. So we just rolled right into another one. So, you know, April, May comes around, we do another one.
You had 9 chances, right? Because you had 9 embryos? Okay.
Yes. So we're on our second chance now. And then, so we do that. They increase like my estrogen, my estradiol. So I was doing that and we went in again, transfer was fine. They took like the second best embryo, and I just felt after we left, I'm like, I don't think this is it. I don't think this worked. I just felt it.
Yeah.
So we waited the 2 weeks and I just knew. So we went in and then that was negative. So we're like, all right, this is May. What is happening? So we come into June and they kept my meds the same again with like the increased estrogen. We went in, we had our transfer, and, you know, we were sitting there talking and they're like, you know, if this doesn't work, then we should pause and like start doing more like testing, because like, why isn't this working? You had these like 2 great embryos. So we went in and that was like the first time that I ever was like, oh no, this might not work. Like we might not have a baby after this.
Yeah.
We might not have anything.
Yeah.
And that's stressful to think about. And like, even because you were like, you planned this whole time, you spend all this money, you spend all this time and energy, you put your body through everything, and you're like, wait, this might not work.
Yeah.
So that like, I started to cry and my husband was getting a little like emotional, and we're like, oh wow. So it was just a really big deal for this transfer. So we came in, we did the transfer, and we left, and it was just kind of just like a somber feeling leaving there that day, because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I didn't do anything different in life. In my life when I got home, I didn't eat any of the special things. I didn't drink any of the special things. I didn't like rest I didn't do anything. I was like, you know what? I can't. And then like after a week, I started getting like little pings of nausea, and I was like, oh, this is weird. Like, I'm like, oh, I must have ate something. and it was just come like in little waves. And
Okay.
then I finally went in for my blood work. I didn't have a feeling one way or the other.
Uh-huh.
And I went in, and so like when we go in at like 8 for our blood work, and then the clinic, they meet at noon. So my calls were always at like 3 in the afternoon. Like
Okay.
they made all their good calls and then they saved it for their sad calls. So I got a call at like 12:30. They were calling, and I was like, "Oh, this must be new." So she called and she was like, okay, you came back, you're positive. And my numbers were like 963 or something ridiculous like that.
Like really
And
high.
very high. I was like, oh my God, is that twins? Is that twins? Because why is that number so high?
Yeah.
And
I
so
don't remember what the number was supposed to be anymore.
I don't either. I
I
think,
remember I
well,
was so hung up on them doubling every time I
yeah, they
went
have
in.
to double after so many hours. I had a girlfriend in IVF. Her first number was like single digits. I'm talking like
Oh,
15.
really?
Yeah, and it ended up it's a viable pregnancy, and he was born. So,
Okay.
it's again, it just needs a double.
Yeah.
Um, so then we ended up after June. So it was almost 4 years then that I was pregnant, and then pregnancy was, for lack of better term, it was awful. I felt really gypped. I think like that's where like postpartum depression started, is
Mm-hmm.
because you go through everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then I couldn't even enjoy pregnancy because I was
Yeah.
sick and throwing up every day.
Okay.
And I was crying every day, and it was
Mm-hmm.
miserable. And I was like, why do I feel like this? I don't want to feel like this. Like, I want to enjoy this. And I
Mm-hmm.
just couldn't. Like, I was medicated up until the night before I delivered, because if I wasn't, I would throw up while also
Oh.
trying to
What's
labor.
what's that called? When you throw up?
Hyperemesis,
Yeah. Oh,
gravidarum,
yeah.
HG. Um, and so like the meds that they like want to keep you on are also, I needed a lot of them. I had to take them 3 times a day, and I'm
Oh,
like, this
wow.
is not financially, like, we
Yeah.
can't keep swinging this, because it's, at the time, I don't know what they are now. I know everything has come a long way.
Yeah.
Um, so I just had to take like Unisom and B6, like high doses of it. So I was also low key tired every day.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because Unisom makes you
Yeah,
groggy. Yeah.
but we had that, or I had that, so that was great. And then
Were
we went. I
you, did you have the capacity to be anxious your whole pregnancy? Because I feel like I was anxious my entire
No,
pregnancy.
no, I was sad. I was sad because I didn't feel good. And then everyone's like, yeah, but if you're sick, the baby's healthy. And I'm like,
Yes.
but I'm not, and like, leading up to pregnancy, we were living a very clean, healthy lifestyle. And then I get
Mhm.
to pregnancy and I can't eat anything. So I'm eating hot dogs and pancakes, or not hot dogs, pancakes and sausage on a stick.
Oh,
And um, I never ate those before. Like, those were not part of my diet
right.
pre-pregnancy. I was eating French bread pizzas, again, not part of my diet
No.
pre-pregnancy, but they're like one of the only things I could keep down. Salami, I loved salami. And now my child loves salami, and I probably,
That's
because
funny.
that's all I could eat.
That's
So
really funny.
it was, yeah, but everyone's like, yeah, the baby's healthy. Yeah, but I'm not. I'm crying every day. I'm
Yeah.
crying. Mick would drop me off at my parents' in the morning at the beginning of pregnancy when it was the worst, and I would just lay on their couch with a pug, and I would just cry, and then I would run to the bathroom and throw up, and then I would come back.
Oh.
We were so pathetic. But so
Oh.
I didn't have room to
Oh.
be anxious because I was too
Yeah.
busy being sad and crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we delivered. We had some really awful news delivered to us the week
Okay.
before I had her.
Okay.
Um, and so then like I don't know if I can talk about it like legally.
Okay.
Um, so we had some really awful news happen,
Yeah.
and then like I still had to deliver a baby. So
So that
like
happened before you
yeah,
delivered her.
I didn't even have a baby yet. I still had a baby. Like, this traumatic event happened while I was still very pregnant, and I didn't even have a baby in my arms yet. So
Wow.
I had to block that out because I still had to bring a baby into this world.
Yeah. Wow.
So I think that caught up to me during postpartum.
Okay.
And then because too, we also had to like relive the whole situation for like a year and a half to like get everything settled. And then I had some postpartum depression,
Yeah.
and I just feel like I missed out on some of her life. Like looking back at pictures and movies, like for the first year, I'm just like, oh, I barely remember that because I was like drowning, or I felt like I
So
was drowning.
do you think that affected like how you were a mom that first year because you were kind of grieving?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so. I feel like there are so many more things I wanted to do or would have liked to have done, or just how I would have liked to have been like the mom I would have wanted to have been that first year.
What would you have changed?
I don't know now.
Uh-huh.
I just feel like I would have loved to have been like more, like let's go out places. Or another thing that I knew is like just to turn off the outside noise on how you should parent your child.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to be this kind of mom, so I have to do X, Y, and Z. But really, I just should have been listening to my intuition and listening to my gut and listening to my baby and just
Mm-hmm.
flowing. Like it took us so we ended up co-sleeping, but after
Mm-hmm.
4 months. So I, struggled for the first 4 months of her sleeping until I finally was just like, all right, well, I'm just going to co-sleep because this is working for us right now, even though, you know, whoever and doctors and whatever say no. And, sleep training works for some, but not, and I'm like, oh my God, should we sleep train? And I'm like, no, but I don't want to because that doesn't feel right.
Right.
Not knocking sleep training for us, it
Right.
didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then, so I wish I just would have turned off the outside noise. I could not breastfeed exclusively.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we've talked
Um,
about this. Let's talk about
yes,
breastfeeding a little bit because
I
this
could
is a
not.
yeah.
It's hard. I could
Yeah.
not breastfeed exclusively, and I didn't know that until like 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
after she was born, and she just would not ever settle, and she was just not feeling good, and
Mm-hmm.
she was always like wanting to like nurse, and I'm like, oh, are we going through a growth spurt? No, you're hungry. And there's all that chatter about like breastfeeding and no,
Mm-hmm.
you have to give it time. And it's like, yes, but also my child is being affected right now. So
Yes.
then I'm like, okay, did I hurt her? Not hurt her, but like, did I like throw something off those first 2 weeks because I wasn't like, did I mess up by trying to get us into like a good, smooth routine because I was just so like tunnel vision on no, we're exclusively nursing. And so
Mm-hmm.
um I still think about that. And I'm like, did I mess her sleep up because for two
No,
weeks?
honestly, like I like selfishly, I'm like, thank God you went through that experience because I leaned on you a lot when I was going through my breastfeeding
Mm-hmm.
experience because I don't think I've talked about it on here yet. But so basically, when I started breastfeeding, my mom didn't have milk, so I knew that that was an option. Now that she like sees what I went through to breastfeed, she's like, okay, maybe if I tried like harder because like I was like wanting to do it so bad and like
Yeah.
wouldn't give up and I was at the lactation consulting constantly and
Oh my God, every week.
yeah,
Every
yeah,
week.
yeah. And my milk just like wasn't enough for her. And so like I think it was like day like 5, like 2 days after her being here, she cried from like 2 a.m. to like 6 p.m. And I finally just said to Nick and my mom, like, give her a bottle of formula. She's hungry. And they were like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm sure. Give her a bottle of formula because she's hungry. And they gave her a bottle of formula. And the poor thing after that slept for like 7 hours because she was just starving because I wasn't making enough milk to satiate her. And then, then I started doing like the triple feeding and, all of that. I
Oh my
still
gosh,
pump.
yes.
Yeah. And then they offered me the SNS. I think we
Mm-hmm.
talked about that.
Yes.
The SNS was not for me. That was a shit show. Um,
A lot of little
and
like little pieces.
yeah, and then also like she chokes like when she drinks, even like in
Mm-hmm.
the morning when I would breastfeed her because I was so full, like she would choke.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like it freaked me out
Wasn't,
that she was
yeah.
no. And so then I leaned on you a lot because I knew like, we have similar styles and values and all of that. And I was like, am I doing the wrong thing? Like, I don't know if I should insist, but I don't want her to lose weight, like, because she
Mm-hmm.
needs to gain that weight. And I'm like, I picked out a good formula. I'm using the Bobby formula. She responds well to it. Like, is this the wrong thing? And you were like, no, like, you have to feed her. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? Like, some women just don't have, and I knew that was an option, like, with my mom, but like, I needed to hear it from someone like my own age, my
Yes.
peer, I needed to hear like, no, like it's okay. Like sometimes it just doesn't come in fully
Yeah.
and that's
You don't have the glandular tissue.
yeah.
Like you can have like the muscle, but there's just like tissue, the milk making tissue that not everybody has. And that happens, like that can be genetic. Like I wasn't breastfed, so that could have been a thing with my mom.
Yeah.
Maybe your mom has a similar thing,
Right.
and like we just don't know enough about it. And sometimes the breastfeeding culture feels like it can be very toxic.
Yeah.
And like I remember, I'm up at midnight feeding my child a bottle because I can't nurse exclusively. And then you see all these things on, oh, breast is best. Oh, you're not trying hard enough. Oh, take all these supplements. And why aren't you like power pumping? Pump after she eats, feed on both sides. And it's like, I'm trying.
I
Like
did
I'm trying.
everything.
Yeah. Like, and
Everything.
that you can only do so much again before your mental health is like, all right,
Yes.
I'm going to take a nose, like I'm going to spiral.
Yes. And I
So
just recently stopped actually power pumping. I just like you said it and I was like, oh, I haven't done that in like a month.
yeah.
But like because I got my supply to the point where I'm making like 20-ish ounces a day and
Mm-hmm.
she eats like, anywhere between like 24 to 27. So she's almost getting exclusive breast milk.
Yeah.
But not quite. And you know what? I'm like, that's okay. I'm only doing this for 6 months and then I'm done because I'm like, it's so much, especially because now I exclusively pump because of the rough start that we had.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know she's getting enough milk now because now I
Yeah.
have like PTSD from like her
Yeah.
losing weight, from her like being fussy. And so I don't want to blame the fussiness on her being hungry all the time because that's what was happening too. And I was
Yeah.
losing my mind. She would be crying. And because we were trying to breastfeed, my mom and Nick would hand her to me and be like, she's hungry. She's hungry. She's hungry. She's hungry. And so like, she was in my, and not that I don't want her to be in my arms constantly, but when you're sleep deprived and you're like the only form of nourishment and you're not nourishing the baby,
Yeah.
it like,
And it's
yeah, it like really messes with your mental health. And so nothing you can do is satisfying this baby. And everyone's like, well, you need to do something. And there's nothing you can do.
you're like, I am trying as much as I can. There's
Mm-hmm.
only so much you can do. And
Yeah.
I just feel like we are not educated like in the hospital. And again, like the somewhat toxic culture, it can be around like the breastfeeding and,
Mm-hmm.
just poo pooing on formula.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That was
Yeah.
hard. I wish I would
Yeah.
have, because it took a friend asking me, hey, is she getting enough? And I'm like, what? I didn't even think of that. I just was under the assumption again that like these just worked
Yeah,
and they
because they
didn't.
tell you, we took a breastfeeding class and they told you
Mm-hmm.
like your body knows how much she needs. So it'll make as much as she needs. That's not true at all. I mean, you can be an
No.
underproducer, you can be an overproducer. Like, what does
Yeah.
that mean? That's not true at all.
My body may know, but she's still not going to produce it. Like
Right,
she can
right.
only produce so much with the tissue she has.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't talk about that enough. And that's a real thing. And I remember I joined a Facebook group and you had to answer a bunch of questions. And I was like, oh, wow, there's like a whole group of women out there being told that, they should be able to breastfeed, but they can't because their bodies don't work like that.
Yeah,
We are not all created equal.
right.
So I wish I would have like kept that a little quieter and like turned that off.
Yeah.
And then now I think, she's almost 6 and I'm, a lot better with outside influence and parenting and like their thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
But I wish I would, back then it would have been, but that was like at the height of like, Instagram moms and talking about all like these natural crunchy ways to do things. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, am I that mom? I want to be that mom. And I'm like, just, I wish that's the only thing I would have done different. It's just like to turn off the outside noise.
Yeah. I feel like I'm somewhere in between. I don't feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like super crunchy, but I also don't feel like I go the other way either. I'm just like
Yeah.
a happy medium. It's kind of like whatever works, but I'm gonna try to do the best thing. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes. Like we definitely feed fast food now. We did not the first few years of her life, but now we do
Mm-hmm.
fast food. I'm like, you know what? I'm fine. I need a happy medium because I will stress myself out and it's
Yeah,
not worth it.
yeah.
It's just
I
not
grew
worth
up eating so much fast food, and I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not the healthiest person on earth, but I'm also not the most sickly. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be okay with it at the end of the day. She's eating. She's
exactly.
eating. They're
Yeah,
eating. So,
yeah,
yeah. And I love a good Chick-fil-A sandwich.
yeah. Chick-fil-A gives me a stomachache. I think they fry their stuff in soy.
I thought it was peanut.
I don't
Oh no,
know
I think
because
they're peanut free.
okay, because it always gives me a stomach ache. So
I'm
that's what I
sad.
just assume because I don't get a stomach ache everywhere, but there I do.
I'm sorry because they're so good.
It's so good. And sometimes I'm just like, I'm gonna take the stomach ache and I eat it anyway.
Right. We get it. She does Ninja Warrior on Thursdays, and
Uh-huh.
there's a Chick-fil-A like 2 minutes from there, so we always get Chick-fil-A afterwards. And I'm like, this is just a fun little. This is like the little things that I hope she remembers growing up, like taking her to her Ninja Warrior classes, which is wild, and then we just
That's
go get
so cool.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
so
hope
cool.
that's just like something that she grows up remembering.
I'm sure she will. I mean, we went to fast food so much too because we went to church with my dad and then he would take us, like it was a little like daddy daughter date. So we would go to church with my dad and then we'd
Yes,
take us to fast food until like, yeah, positive
yeah, but like
memories.
those are like the memories. Those are
Yeah,
the good memories. That's what you want
definitely.
for your children. Your children. Like she's
Definitely.
at she went shopping today with my husband to go like for my stocking, and then they go to Burger King afterwards, and she has a play and she plays. So that's
Yes.
like this is like the third year in a row they've done that. So this is special for them.
Oh, I love
And she
that.
remembers it every year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. It's
Yeah,
Burger King. It's fine.
exactly.
It's fine.
That's
She ate
really sweet.
her free range eggs for breakfast. It's a happy medium.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. A little bit of everything. But
Hmm.
yeah. Anything else you want to add about breastfeeding or your fertility journey?
Um, if you think there's something wrong, don't stop. I think I had, and the two doctors that dismissed me were women, and I was very surprised at that
Hmm.
they just didn't want to listen. But, and then my male doctor, and he ended up leaving because he had like something like a brain issue. So, like,
Okay.
he was with me through my entire pregnancy. He was there when she was delivered, and then he had to like retire early because he ended up having like a brain scan thing.
Oh
So,
gosh.
I cried over that too.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you helped me through this. I just had like a really like just an attachment because I'm like, you helped
Yes.
me. And
Yeah.
then but no, it was fun. And also just tune out the outside noise.
Yeah. I think that's great advice because there's so much noise on
Yeah.
both sides all the time. And
Oh my God. Everybody's shouting everything. And then like find like a couple people that you can confide in that like they're living or doing how you are or want.
yes,
I
but
think having
also caveat to that because I feel like I had a couple people that like I felt that way about, and then I reached out to them and they, especially breastfeeding, and they were like, "No, it's too early to stop trying." But I knew like in my gut that something was like
yeah.
going on. So I went with my gut, and then I found you and my other friend who really were like, "Yeah, we had the same problem. Like, it's okay. Like, do what you can, and as
Yeah.
long as she's fed."
Yeah. Do not have any guilt. Really. And then that's how I can get like fed is best.
Yeah.
Yes, that really is at this. Like it's also best for my mental health.
Yes. Yeah.
And like we secured milk from donors and stuff, but that's
Okay.
also hard because you have to like not trust. I mean, trust the person
Trust.
eventually.
Yeah.
And like we had milk too. We got from someone that ended up being high lipase, so it was like soapy, and I had to like scald it. And then
What? It was soapy?
yeah, so well, it wasn't soapy. It tasted soapy. So
Oh,
some women make like it's high lipase. It's like a fat in your milk. So if it's fresh, it's okay. But if you freeze it and thaw, it can have a soapy taste. And that's
interesting.
just it's still good. It's just the fat in your milk. So you can boil it and then add like a drop of non-alcohol vanilla extract. But I'm like, this is a whole thing. This is
Yeah.
extra. I just wanted
Preparing a
to warm
meal.
it up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did try that for a little bit, and I am thankful for the couple donors that we had.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm like, I just need something that's easy.
Yeah.
And
My
so,
chiropractor talked to me about donor milk. She's amazing. She's in
mhm.
here in Austin. But I don't know, the trust thing. I
Yeah,
couldn't get over it. She said she drove all around Texas getting donor milk, and I'm like, you know what? She's getting like 20 ounces of breast milk a day. I think that's okay.
yeah. No, that's yes, because we did it like just the first little bit at the beginning, and after that, I like stopped following and stopped like I'm like, no, I don't need this.
It's a lot.
It's too much for me. It's too
Yeah.
much. But yeah, I don't think so. but she's 6. And you know what? She's fine now. Mom's not
Yes, she
fine.
is.
She's 6. She's healthy. And there are some days that I'm just like, I cannot believe you were frozen for
I
when we.
know. I feel the same way. That I'm like, you were like the embryo that they like called me about, and we're like, she's genetically normal, and now you're like
Yeah.
here.
And like you're frozen. And then we thawed you.
Yeah, she was
Like
frozen for months.
we have their first picture of like a cluster of cells.
Yes, literally.
It is wild. And then I sometimes like that just hits me and I'm just in awe. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We literally saw you when you were 5 days old,
Yes.
like as a cluster of cells. I have a
Yeah.
picture of you.
Yes.
And
same.
then you're screaming at me because I made your sandwich wrong. Life is full
Wait,
circle.
and then did you watch when they did the transfer? Because like
Yeah,
they
like
had it on the screen. So like we watched when we got pregnant.
yeah, they like when they put the whatever
The
the
like
pipette in,
catheter or
and
whatever in, and
yeah,
then
and you
it
can
like
see it and they're pointing at it and we're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's wild. When
so
you think about
crazy.
that, it's just wow.
Yeah,
You truly are a miracle.
yeah, yeah,
Like, and we got to see like, so I guess not. I mean, IVF is, it's not like something you wish upon everyone, but like,
yeah,
how cool that we still got to see the beginning of their
yeah,
development.
yeah,
We got to
yeah,
see that. We were there for that. So like
yeah.
maybe our journeys to kids weren't normal, but we still got to see all this other cool stuff.
Right. We have a different journey that yes
Yeah.
was tough, but we also got little treats because of it.
Yeah. We deserve that.
Yeah,
Treat
definitely.
yourself.
Whew, after that because that was
Yeah,
tough. Yeah,
it was.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, IVF, Let's talk about your coloring book. I have
Yes.
it here. I love this
Oh,
thing.
oh, I have mine too. One of my copies.
Are there different versions?
No, if they look different colors, it's because Amazon
Okay.
prints them like that. That I
Okay.
have no control over that. So I'll order a batch of 10 and they'll all just be like these beautiful colors and no two match. And I'm like, thank you, Amazon. So
Interesting. So
yeah,
talk
that's their
about it.
printing.
Let us well, I mean, I love this thing, but go ahead. You talk about it first and then I'll talk about it.
So it was funny. I was just telling a local homeschool mom about it because she had found out that I self-published and she had dreams one day of publishing a kid's book, but she didn't know like the steps to take or know anyone who self-published before. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's talk about it. I would love to help you self-publish.
I love that. That's so empowering.
It is very fun. So we actually invested in an iPad a couple years ago because I had all these great ideas to make like digital coloring books and all this stuff. And I got it. I got the Procreate app and I was not like a professional immediately. And I was like, this is annoying. I'm annoyed because I couldn't do everything that I wanted to right away. So I kind of just like throughout like the year and a half, just doodled here and there. And then the beginning of the beginning of this year, because I published it this year. So the beginning of this year, I was like, oh, you know what? I want to make chicken stickers because we have chickens. And I was like, how cool would it be to have like some boho, cute, aesthetically pleasing chicken stickers? So I busted out the iPad. I got out my Procreate course. The one digital artist made a Procreate course. So I bought it when I got the iPad and then she like updates it periodically with like new lessons and then whatever the program updates. So I was scrolling through because I needed to be refreshed on a couple things, and she had like a coloring book, like how to make a coloring book because she published on Amazon. And by this time, I was already like a year into reading. Like because I had started in 2022, I got back into reading, and she was talking about how she self-published her coloring book, and I was like, oh, that's how most like indie authors publish through Amazon. I was like, okay, this is cool. So I just wanted to like refresh on how to make like chicken stickers, and I still have those stickers saved. I did not do anything with them yet because then I was like, oh, I want to make a coloring book because I want to publish a book. I want to be fun. I want to be part of the club. I don't know if that's like an only child thing, but I want to be part of it. So I was like, well, I'm going to start a coloring book. So I told 2 people. I told Mick and Kristen. I told Kristen, and that was it. Nobody else knew. I started in like March. So March, April, May. About May, I was done with it. I would just work like after she went to bed, or, I would even like take like a week or 2 off because I wasn't feeling inspired. So I just started drawing. I was like, I'm going to make it after Spicy Romance because I love those. That's what I love. That's where I'm at right now.
Uh-huh.
And so I just like had all these ideas. of pages that I wanted, and then how I wanted to include like spicy romance in it. And so I condensed it down because I wanted it to be 69 pages because that's punny.
That's funny.
Um, and so I condensed it, which I do 2024. I want to make a second version. I want to have like another one come out. And I just went for it.
Yeah.
I just threw it out there and I was like, all right, we're doing this. I figured out how to upload to Amazon KDP. I figured out like how to make the cover, how to size everything. And I just went for it. I published it and I shared, like I said, I didn't tell anyone and I didn't even share with the internet until I had like, it wasn't even a hard copy. I had all the pages printed at FedEx first so I could see what they looked like and if I needed to change anything. And then I finally was like, oh yeah, I'm going to tell the world or the internet that I made a coloring book and it's going to be out in a month. So I did that and here we are. It's been out for 6 months. And
Yes.
I think I'm at like 220 copies right now, which
Wow, good for
I am
you.
very proud of that. I always think, but then like, I'll just think, oh, well, I could be more if I just like shared more and shared more. But I'm like, no, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is it. I just hit 200 copies. There are 40 some people getting a coloring book for Christmas because that's how many we've sold in December so far.
Nice.
So I'm like, there are going to be some happy people getting them for
Yeah.
Christmas. So
I think I've told you this before, but so here's an example of a page that I colored.
I love her.
I love that they're not like super intricate because like I have so many like meditation coloring books and I get like overwhelmed. So
Like
like
the mandala ones.
yeah, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's so much going on, but like here, like I feel like I can sit down easily, like watch like a show and like just like turn off and like complete the project by the end
Yeah.
of the night without like feeling like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. Like this one's like a little bit more intricate, but like
Yeah. Ooh,
it's
that's
still like
beautiful.
manageable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I never thought about that until you actually pointed it out on how they're not like, they're just easier to color. Not easy, but it's not overwhelming. And then you mentioned that. And then I had another friend, because I think she saw your review on Amazon, which thank you for that.
Of course.
Because she mentioned too how she liked it because it wasn't like the entire page wasn't full and you could just, it was manageable.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
said, and I didn't think of that when I was designing it because then too, I started to second guess. I'm like, oh, should it have been busier? Because I'm always thinking back to like Maeve's coloring pages. And I'm like, some of those pages are intense. Like that's a
Hmm.
lot to color. And by the time she's done coloring, like everything is all blue because she just wanted to be done.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
so I'm like, I never thought about that. And now, so now I am always like looking at that. I'm like, okay, so if I design another one, I want to keep it just like this. And so, just
Definitely.
like easier. Like you could just check out for like 20 minutes while you listen to an audiobook or
Yes.
if
I
you want to
always
watch
like
TV.
watch TV, put on YouTube, whatever, and then
Yeah,
just color it
zone
out.
out. That's
I
what I've
haven't.
been coloring on the iPad and I'll just put an audiobook in
Ooh.
because I can still concentrate on the audiobook and color.
Yeah,
Like I can't scroll and listen or like
right.
do
Which is
work
probably
and
better.
listen. Yeah, right. So, there's
Because
some fun stuff hidden in there because I was listening to the spicy scene.
yes, yes, nice. What made you, so you said you just recently got back into reading. I didn't realize
Yes.
that.
Yeah, like last year. So we were coming back from Florida. Maeve and I went with my parents, and it was like the beginning of February. And I don't know, I cannot remember because it didn't seem significant at the time, but I can't remember where I saw this like sponsored ad for this book. And I can't even remember the name of the book. And it wasn't because I just can't remember it. It wasn't in my because I don't think it was on Kindle Unlimited at the time. So then like it's somewhere floating around, but I can't even remember the name of the book. But it was, and I don't know, it was like some small town romance in like coffee shop, and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. So I started reading it, and I was like, oh my god, this is fantastic. Like this is fun reading now. Like this is fun. So I binged read that, and then I started another one on our way home too. So like I had finished like a book and a half from the time like we were in Florida to when we were home. And then
Wow.
it just kind of started from there. I got Kindle Unlimited, and so you can read as many books as you want a month. And then I just started finding things that were similar to what I was reading, like authors, and then I just started going from there. And it, like and down the rabbit hole, and then here I am now. And it just escalated so quickly. So quickly.
I feel like I was reading so much and then she was born and I was like, oh, I don't have two hands anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So definitely recommend. Well, you have a Kindle, right?
Yes, and you told me to do a pop socket, but
Yes.
I have mother's thumb. I don't know if you ever got that, and
No.
so my whole arm is just messed up.
No.
Yeah, so like it's basically like it's your wrist. I don't know why they call it mother's thumb, but it's like this muscle that like shoots down your arm gets
Oh.
like well the thumb pops, like you can hear it pop, but it gets like the ligament, tendon, whatever it is, gets like really tense. And so it's like hard to like hold things like in my hand. Even carrying her, like sometimes I'm afraid I'm gonna just like lose
Oh
control
no.
of my hand and then I'm just gonna like go down. I got cupping the other day and I had like a
Ooh, how was
big
that?
black mark. Oh, amazing. I had like a big black mark like right here because they needed it so bad right there.
Yeah.
But
You're like, it
yeah,
hurts.
so good.
Um,
My cupping lady is here in Austin and she only does weekdays during the day, or she doesn't do weekends because she has a family and she likes to like be with her daughter. Totally get it. And so Nick's like, all right, I'll work from home one day. Like you go get a massage and cupping. And I was like,
yes, thank you.
really? It was
Yes,
amazing.
thank
I'm
you.
like, you have a pass for the next like 2 months.
Yes. Yes. But also I'd like this next week and or
Yeah.
next month. Let's make this a monthly thing.
uh, it was so
Um,
nice.
that sounds phenomenal.
It was.
Um, but yeah, so I just got back into reading and it was fun because I remember like trying to read like personal development
Hmm.
or just bettering yourself, like the holistic psychologist. Like I was trying to read her books and I was trying to read like Atomic Habits, which those are all very good books, but those are
Yeah.
not books I can sit down and binge read. Those
Yeah.
are, I'm reading a chapter and then I'm going to move on.
Right.
And I felt like I was approaching reading wrong
Okay.
because I'm like, why don't I like this? I don't like reading. No, I just don't like what I was reading. I
Right. So
like
now
reading.
tell everyone what you read. You're my go-to spicy recommendation girl.
I love spicy, smutty romance. I love it. Open door, close, like open door,
What's
explicit.
what's open door?
Open door is like they detail out what's going on. Fade to
Oh.
black is like it's happening, and then closed door is it just like happens behind the scenes.
Okay. Okay.
I just want open door, and that's okay. So yes, I like that. Spicy, smutty, just fun
Yeah.
romance.
You
It's
recommended a
fun.
book to me and I haven't read it and it's sitting there and I'm like, ah, I started reading it and then literally she was born and I was like,
Is it 5 rounds?
yes.
Yeah, I just got so I am on like this kick now to where I have to collect all of her special editions, the authors. So I just got she has 4 books out and the fifth one is coming out early next year. But I just added them to my shelf. And I just love that series. Also, that book is coming out on duet narration soon.
Oh, wow. That
So
sounds fun.
it sounds phenomenal. I am
Yeah.
so pumped about it. That is one of my favorite books. I found her last summer and then I just kind of like, wee.
I
But
have to read it. And one day I'll have my hands free. Not
yes,
today.
one day.
Or she'll actually nap, which right now she's napping, which is great, but
Okay, so
not no
Maeve
more.
like also never napped, had a consistent nap schedule, and I think that messed with me a lot too. Because I'm like, why doesn't my kid have a nap schedule? All these
Right.
other kids are like napping, like it's 11 o'clock and they go down for a nap, and I'm
Yeah.
like, mine does not.
No. Or if she
Why?
naps, it's in my arms. After she fights me
Oh,
and screams in my face, and
hmm
then she's sleeping in my arms.
yeah, it's contact nap or nothing.
Yeah.
And then when you
Mhm.
try to transfer her, it's a no.
No, well, my
So,
husband though, I think it's because like my smell and like she wants to be like specifically on me because he
hmm
can put her in like the snuggle me or the bassinet and she has no problem. But for me, as soon as she knows she's not in my arms, screaming.
they have to. I mean, so I am like, okay, so they grew in us, and there are parts of them like we are tethered together.
Yeah.
So and we are like 100% on the same schedule. Like I can get real woo. I'm 99% certain Maeve is on my cycle with me, even though she's like not. But like our mood swings are at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And so,
That's funny.
I mean,
It's
we're just tethered
dangerous, but
together. Yeah. Um, but yeah, she never napped and we never had a consistent nap schedule. And she kind of quit napping at like 2.
okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
sorry if that's you. Because it's
Yeah, it's
It's hard. It's hard. And
Yeah.
that's another thing. I'm just like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't my child sleeping? What did
Mm-hmm.
I do wrong somewhere? But
Yeah.
not every baby naps like that,
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah. We
even though
kind of
they make
brushed
you.
over sleep before because you started talking about sleep a little bit, and
Yeah.
I wanted to get more into that, but we brushed over it. Um, so you were saying that you co-sleep
Yeah. We co sleep.
and you started at
Um,
4 months.
we started at 4 months, and then after, like, when she was 3 or 2, we started transitioning to her to a floor bed.
Hmm.
Um, and then she was still a little young, so like
Hmm.
she was just back in bed with us. And then when she was like right after she turned 4, we're like, all right, you're going into bed. So our bedrooms are connected. It's just how our house is. And so like if you're in her bedroom, you can see into our bedroom. So like we are there. There is not a closed door. So she would sleep on our floor bed, and like I would lay with her, get her to sleep, and then I would go to bed, or sometimes I would just fall asleep in there and then wake up in the middle of the night and then go back to my bed. But um, she 9 times out of 10 just wakes up in the middle of the night. I mean, sometimes she'll wake up at 11 and come into bed, or sometimes she'll wake up at like 5 and come into bed with us. But so we'll start in her bed, and then she just always ends up in our bed.
Yeah.
And
I think it's the kid too, though, because like my sister was like that. Like she did not want
mm-hmm.
to sleep alone. She ended up sleeping. She would sleep with my parents sometimes, but for the most part, it was with me. Meanwhile, I like had no problem sleeping alone. Like I was
Yeah.
kind of like, see you later. Like it's totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, I was asleep. I slept like that too when I was little. Like I always needed to be near my parents. And then
Yeah.
like once I started kindergarten, my sleep like evened out, but
Yeah.
we homeschool. So we don't get
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
that normal like sleep still.
Definitely.
But
Yeah.
there are some nights where I'll just like, if we have busy mornings or we need to be up early, I'll just sleep her in our bed. I'm like, all right, no, you can just sleep with us because I
Yeah.
want you to get solid sleep. I don't want you to get
Yeah.
broken sleep. And
Where did
also it's
you
easier for me.
Yeah, definitely. Where did you sleep before you co-slept with her?
Like a rock and play.
Mm-hmm.
We tried that. We tried the mama room. We tried a bassinet.
Yeah.
Um, but then like we were always waking up to nurse, or she was just always waking up, and then she would like I would lay in bed and I'd have pillows around me and she'd be sleeping on me. So
Yeah. She's in a bedside like bassinet, but it's like one of those ones that has the side that comes off. So she's
mm-hmm.
basically in bed with us. It's just I can't roll over on her.
She's
Like
on.
my hands
Yeah,
on her on basically all night, especially now
yeah,
during this
yeah.
time.
She never slept in her crib. Never.
Yeah.
I
I don't
just
even have
sold
a
her
crib
crib.
right now.
No, I mean, I was like, it just held stuff.
Yeah.
Um, she just slept in bed with us, and I felt like she just slept better like that.
Hmm.
Obviously she's getting older and she's getting more like wiggly in her sleep. So like I'm getting kicked a lot more because I sleep in the middle. We have a king size bed too, so I think that is also a big like factor
Yeah.
on still co-sleeping because we have a king size bed and like I sleep in the middle, which I'm okay with sleeping in the middle. But like I get kicked a lot more now.
Yeah.
But
When she moved into your bed at 4 months, how did you do it? Because I feel like I'd be so scared to like roll over on her or.
she was in the middle, but we would put like a line of pillows for my husband. But he also does not move a lot while he sleeps. Like
No, my
he'll sleep on
husband
his
does.
side and he'll stay on his side. Like he'll
Okay.
fall asleep like that and wake up like that.
That's nice.
Um, and then I eventually got a bed rail, and then I moved her to the outside.
What's a bed rail?
I don't. It's just like a net. It was a net that like slides under your mattress that like goes up. So like pretty much like a bassinet side, but it's long enough for your bed, and then it
Okay.
just hooks on. So then like if they go to roll off, because she'll roll off beds. Like in hotels, she'll roll off the bed.
Okay.
Um, and so that just keeps her in. So if like she rolls too far, it's like, I mean, it's not like 100%. Then like it'll wake her up enough to where she's not going to fall off the bed.
Right, right.
So I'll send you a picture when we're done.
Yeah. I also I wanna go into how to self-publish a book when we're done.
Ooh, okay.
Because that sounds fun. And I have
It
some
is
ideas.
very fun, and literally anybody can do it. You can make journals.
Oh,
Like you
okay.
can make um any product like to match with like if you want like a journal or a notebook to go with like your podcast
Hmm.
or your businesses, you can do that and self-publish on Amazon.
Okay. I
It is,
like it.
I mean, sky's the limit. You just, as long as you own the copyright and you're not like copying someone or like infringing on trademarks, you can just do that.
Yeah.
You can just print blank journals if you want. If you are inspired by something and you want to make really pretty journals that are like, I don't know, 6x6, you can do that and publish on Amazon.
Wow. Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah, we got to talk about it for sure.
Yeah.
What's some advice or like mom hacks or something along those lines for like the early days that like you wish you knew, or like you kind of like tell all your like friends or whatever that are about to be moms?
Get out of the house at least once a day, even if you just stand in your yard. Get out of the house, get fresh air. If you have a coffee shop that has a drive-through, do not feel guilty about getting yourself coffee every day. And really, if you need help or want help, just vocalize specifically how you want it. Like to my parents, how I would ask them exactly how I wanted it done, because nobody can read our minds, even though we want them to. And we wish we did, but you just have to be very just this, I need this right now. So get outside, get coffee, and just be clear. And it's okay. And like, yes, it's annoying to have to like ask someone the same thing 4 times, but you're only going to like make it worse for yourself if you don't, because then you're going to start harboring that like annoyance and stuff. But yeah, get outside, fresh air. And if you can go for a walk, I think that was another big thing when my postpartum. So we live rural, like in a rural area, and we live on a state route. So our road is very busy and it has a 55 speed limit. So I am not walking on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And I don't have like sidewalks or a neighborhood. And I still think that right now, and I'm trying not to like, I wish we had this, because you want to like live in the moment and just appreciate where you're at. I still think like if you can go out for walks, go out for walks. Like either get some music, get a podcast, get an audiobook. But if you have the ability to get outside every day, go for a walk. Because I know that is like the one thing I wish I had postpartum was like sidewalks to walk on.
Okay. I live on the 3rd floor walk up, and that is getting her down the stairs is a feat. It's a feat.
That's you're sweating by the time you get to the bottom.
Yes. But I force myself out a lot. Like yesterday, Nick was home and everything, and I was like, I'm going to Target. I'm taking her. I'm going to Target. I don't care. I got to get
just those little outings, or like I said, just we have a local coffee shop, and if they didn't open until like 2.5 years ago, and they have a drive-through. I'm like, if this would have been here when she was born, I feel like this would have been like not a game changer, like would have affected it that much. But I'm like, I feel like we would have just had like a better rhythm.
Yeah.
Like it could have been better.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe it still would have been annoying.
When was Maeve born?
She was born March 16th.
Okay. So you rolled kind of into the spring, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. So that was nice. Like I had her, she was like a baby all summer.
Yeah.
So she was a little older than at Christmas. But yeah, if I had that, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I think about how we could have went in and sat inside if I would have had her, if they would have been here. But you can't think like that. I know, but I know like if you have a coffee shop with a good drive-through, go there.
Yeah. Okay. I do. I'm going to, well, by the time this comes out, the surprise will be over, but we're surprising our family for Christmas and we're just showing up. I know it's going to be so fun. I know we're so excited. So
that is such a good surprise.
I know. I'll be in New Jersey all of January. So I'm like,
oh my gosh,
I want to go for walks while I'm there, because we have a sidewalk, but I have to go down the 3 flights of stairs. It's like
it's different. It's not like just the ease of just walking out your door to a sidewalk or a road to get you to a sidewalk. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. That's what you need. Like, you're going to lug a baby and all her stuff 3 flights down. I'm going to go drive 10 minutes to like a place to walk.
Right. No. If you put another obstacle in there, it's not happening.
Yeah. And we're already struggling. So
I wonder if we can walk around in January, if it's going to be too cold, but we'll see.
No, bundle up, put blankets on her, put a hat, get an audiobook, get your podcast. No, you can do this.
Okay. I'm excited.
You're going to do this.
Yes.
Yeah. You get that good fresh air.
Yeah. Well, and they say not Swedish, Nordic people.
Yeah.
They sleep their babies outside. That's been a whole thing lately.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to feel less guilty about taking her out in the cold. Here it's not super cold, but
No,
sometimes,
she might love it.
yeah.
Maeve loves being out in the cold. She is a snow
Really?
bunny. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So take her out in the snow. Get her a cute
Yeah.
snowsuit when you're there and just like bundle her up.
Oh, I got so
Push her
many
in
cute clothes. I have so many, like, they call them, what are they called? They're like jumpers, but they're like the full, like, Sherpa.
rompers.
No, it's
Ooh.
like,
Oh, the
they,
jumpsuit thing or
yeah, but it's called like, I don't, it's not a pram. A pram is a stroller
yeah.
in
Yeah.
London, but,
Ooh, I bet those so cozy. Oh my God, she'll be perfect in there.
yeah,
And then
so
you just like put a blanket around her.
exactly.
She'll
Put
be
her hat
fine.
on, like,
Yeah.
get
She'll
her
be
little like
cozy.
thing up, and yeah, it'll be all
Hmm.
good. Okay,
I want
another
to be
question
pushed
I
in a
wanted to
stroller
ask.
like that. Okay.
Huh?
I want to be pushed in a stroller like that.
So cozy.
Yes.
Another thing I wanted to ask is, Maeve is 6, right?
Yes.
What has been your favorite stage so far?
I say this with every age, but I think it's like every age. Like
Okay.
right now, she is getting to be independent enough. And so when we were raising her, or when we're still raising her, when she was growing up, or like when she was younger, I'm like, I want to raise her like if like Montessori Waldorf. Like I want her to be able to be independent,
Mm-hmm.
not because I don't want to do this stuff for her, but I want her to be capable. And
Yeah.
so, she's almost 6 right now, and we're reaching those milestones right now. And I'm just like floored at how capable she is. Like she made me a coffee the other morning. She
Wow.
got one of my glass cups. She put milk, she put sugar, she put the coffee in, she got the little immersion blender, and she just
Wow.
made it. And
From
I
watching you
didn't,
do it, or did you have your?
yeah. No, from
Wow.
watching me because, I want to keep her involved. And then there are some days I'm like, can you please go out of the kitchen? I just want to be by myself.
Yeah.
But, like she'll get the knife out and cut herself something, like cut herself a cucumber up. And it is just really, I think this is my favorite age right now. I love the younger years, but the older years too are getting to be really sweet. Like, she's more capable and we can go more places. And, um, she's just coming into her personality. The
Yeah.
other day, she got dressed and she had her sweatshirt on and it was on backwards. And I, mentioned, I'm like, hey, your sweatshirt's on backwards. And she's just walking through the house getting her stuff. And she's like, well, it's my clothes and my body and I can wear it how I want. And I said, okay, okay. So, you spend like you're in the thick of it and you're like trying to teach them like boundaries and autonomy and, all this stuff. And then now here we are, she's making coffee and like, it's my body, don't touch.
That's
So, well, not don't touch,
awesome.
but like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So I think this is like my favorite age right now. And two,
Awesome.
like they're getting funnier. She's getting fun. And like, I don't know if it's because her and I spend so much time together because I'm a stay-at-home mom and we've been together every day. But like she's starting to pick up the little quirks on like how I talk. I'll be like, that's 100% no from me. And so this morning she had a chocolate pretzel and she's like, oh, this is 100% yes, mama. And I said, okay. So, but I guess like also it's really nice when they don't talk back to you and don't scream at you. But I think
I
every age
mean,
is my favorite.
I think they scream at you at every age because she's 3 months
Literally.
and I'm getting screamed at. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now they just have words
yeah.
and they can like voice their, that makes me sad. I'm
Yeah.
like, I just asked you to pick something up. I'm sorry. I don't want you to be a bum when you're older. So
Oh, I love that.
I do.
Oh my
This is my favorite age. But then like 5 was my favorite age and 4 was my favorite age.
I think once they start talking too, and they're like just have like
They're
the
doing.
fun. Although I didn't, I not hated. Run that back. I didn't think I would like the newborn stage. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I never really liked newborns, and everyone's like, it's different when it's your kid. And she started like babbling really, really, really early. Like I'm talking like a month and a half. Like we went in
Mm-hmm.
for a 2-month appointment, and she was like trying to have a full blown conversation with the doctor, and the doctor was
Oh,
like, "Is she like this all the time?" And I'm like, "Yes." I don't know why.
she has
Like
lots of things to say.
she does. And I don't know if you saw it on Instagram, but yesterday she was like straight up singing with me. Like I was singing
Oh
and
my
she
gosh,
was
in the
like,
kitchen?
yeah. And
Yes.
so she's just like, so it is fun. Like I didn't think I would like it but she
Yeah.
does interact with me, and like I guess because it's yours, like you know what she's like and like how she's
Yeah.
interacting with you. Whereas like a stranger like wouldn't know. And she's like
Yeah. Like someone's
interacting
like,
with
oh,
me.
my kid was singing with me. And you're like, but then like when it's your kid though, you're like, no, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Although it is really cool though with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, that is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's fun. She's a talker. We're both talkers, so I don't know
Oh, yeah.
what I was
Oh,
expecting.
yeah. I always, I'm like, I always look at my kid, I'm like, I'm sorry. Because she's very much like me, very outgoing, very just like loves doing things, loves people.
I
And
love
Mick is
that.
very quiet and introverted.
Oh,
And I'm like, I'm sorry, you have two loud mouths.
yeah.
And we are also like very emotional and hormonal at the same time. So thoughts and prayers.
I love that. Oh gosh, poor thing. He's
I
got his
know,
work cut out for him.
I know, but we're so fun.
um, I always blame her not napping on her FOMO. Nick has FOMO.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I think that's what it is. Like, not me. I don't have FOMO. I'm like, give me a nap. I'll take a nap over anything. She takes after him when it comes to that.
Yeah, I have FOMO, so she gets
Okay.
that unfortunately from me. But I love napping now too. Like if I could nap right now, I probably would. But
Yeah, I've always
not
been a
like
big
right now,
sleeper.
but like if I had to
Right.
take a nap,
Right. If we
I'm
all
not
have
gonna
to
like say
call and
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. Um, okay, if you had to name your life as a mom, like what as a book, like you had a book
Hmm.
coming out about your life as a mom, what would it be?
That escalated quickly.
Okay. I like
Yes,
it.
no. No, I feel like we just have things that happen. It's like, oh my gosh, like, we started out. I don't know. I just feel like that would work for us right now. Like, wow, that escalated quickly. Like, I just get like, excuse me, hyper fixated on things. And I'm like, next thing you know, I have like an entire table full of beads. Or next thing you know, she is skiing and snowboarding and we have all the gear for it. No, that escalated quickly.
Okay, I love it. I love it. All right, and that's where we're gonna wrap up this episode. Tell everyone where they can find your spicy coloring book. What's it called? How to search for it on Amazon.
Coffee Icy Book Spicy. You can find it on Amazon. It's on Prime shipping. And it's $13.99. So yeah, on Prime shipping. Just search Coffee Icy Book Spicy. And if you buy it, could you please leave me a review? Because Amazon has a praise kink, and the more reviews you have, the higher they bump your stuff in the search bar.
Oh, I
But
didn't know that.
yeah, they love being praised. But if you type it in, there's like a couple stickers that might pop up, but then the coloring book. So
Okay.
it's usually at the top if you type in Coffee Icy Book Spicy.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Is there anywhere else that you want people to find you?
You can find me on Instagram at thelittlefawn.co. That was my shop name. I don't know what I'm doing with it for the new year. I don't know if I should change it or not. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Okay.
Because things are just like opening up now. But you can find me there. I share a lot of like book talk. I have chickens, so I share a lot about my chickens, memes, because I love laughing. That's my love language.
Oh, your
And
memes are
then
great.
and that's my love language. And just like snippets of like my daughter and just like our life.
Yes, awesome. So that's a wrap on today's episode. A big thank you to Julie for sharing her journey and spice with us. Don't forget to check out her spicy coloring book. If you enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, and share the Mommin Around podcast. Until next time, keep spicing up your mom life. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.